Hi sewists and aspiring sewists, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in today's tutorial I'm going to be teaching you how to make this beautiful gown hoodie jacket. So if this looks like what you're interested in, then let's dive into the main video. So for this tutorial I'm going to be making use of this high quality cotton fleece for my hoodie jacket. So what I have here is about 3.5 yards. Well, I'm going to recommend a 2.5 yards for your jackets only. Another thing we're also going to be needing for this tutorial is this high quality caterpillar zip. So this caterpillar zip is about 28 inches. So what I have here is 27.5, which is recommendable for this hoodie jacket, and this is also the standard measurements we're going to be using for this tutorial. So with no further delay, let's get into it. So now I've already gone ahead to fold my fabric. So I have my fabrics in 4 different folds, including my front bodies and my back bodies. So for my front length measurement, I have 32 inches here, and remember that the full length measurement we have on our measurement book is 33 inches. So from my 33 inches I subtracted 2 inches, and that gave me 31 inches. So I added 1 inch allowance for seam, and that gave me 32 inches. So that was how I was able to get this 32 inches. Now if you observe closely, you will see that I left an allowance of about 0.25, which is serving as my zipper allowance. So you can see that what we have here is about 0.25, which is serving as zipper allowance, and for the folding allowance I left 2 inches, which is what you can see in the video. Moving on, I'm going to go ahead to measure my shoulder. So for my shoulder measurement, I have 21 inches here. Dividing it by 2, that gave me 10.5. So I'm going to go ahead to measure my 10.5. Now for every measurement I'm going to be taking, I'm going to include my zipper allowance, because this zipper allowance is part of our measurement. After this, I'm going to go on with my neckline measurement. So for my neckline width, I'm making use of 3 inches as my neckline width measurement, and also for my neckline depth I'm going to be using 5 inches. Now this 5 inches depends on what size you're working with. Because I'm working with an extra large size, that's why I'm making it 5 inches. So if you're working with a smaller size, be it medium, be it large, you can reduce your size to fit into what you want. You can use 3.5, you can use 4 inches, you can use 4.5, depending on the size you're working with. So once I have this carved already, I'm going to use my French curve to trace out these lines. So from my shoulder line, I'm going to be coming down by 1 inch. So I'm going to march my 1 inch towards my neckline, and I'm going to slant what I have here. Also, by maintaining the same standard on my back neckline, I'm going to measure 3 inches as the width measurement, and for the depth I'm going to come down by 1 inch allowance. Also from my front bodies, I'm going to come up from my shoulder line by 1 inch, and I'm going to form a slopey line towards the neckline of my back bodies. After that, I'm going to go on with my armhole measurement, and I'm going to measure 9 inches. Also for my chest line, I'm going to go ahead to measure 9 inches for my chest line. So after marking out my points, I'm going to go ahead to match these lines together, and I'm going to form an armhole curve with my French curve. So after that, I'm going to go ahead with my body measurement. So for my body, I have 52 inches here. Dividing that into 4 is going to give me 13 inches. So now I have 13 inches, and I'm going to be adding ½ inch allowance, which will serve as my seam allowance. So that makes it 13.5. So I'm going to go ahead to measure 13.5 on my fabric, adding the zipper allowance. Please always note this. So I'm also going to go ahead to mark out my 13.5, and I'm going to cut what I have here. Moving on, I've already gone ahead to measure my sleeve. So for my sleeve arm, I made use of 20 inches, while for my down sleeve I made use of 14 inches. So the next thing I'm going to measure will be my cap length measurement. So for my cap length, I'm going to be making use of 17 inches. Now I already have this on 4 pieces, so I'm cutting out 4 pieces of this. Now for my cap width, I'm going to go ahead to measure 13.5. Now I was able to get this 13.5 by calculating my neckline measurement, and you can also achieve this by measuring your neckline circumference after you must have joined your shoulder line, and that's going to give you exactly what you need for this measurement. So once I have my 13.5 marked out, I'm going to go ahead to form a curve around this part of my cap, just as you can see me illustrate in this video. Now there are different techniques to how you can achieve this hoodie cap. You can decide to reduce it on the downside to form a slopy line, but this is my pattern and this just works for me. So guys, now I'm slashing it just so that we can have our 4 pieces pointed out. Now I'm going to proceed by measuring my side pockets. So I'm going to be using the stretchy part as my width measurement, while the non-stretchy part as my length measurement. So for my length, I'm making use of 10 inches here, while for the width of my pocket, I'm making use of 8.5 inches as my width measurement. So once I have this done, I'm going to go ahead to cut. A non-stretchy hoodie waistband, I'm going to be using the division of my body measurement as the waistband measurement. So I have 26 inches and I made mine 27 inches, which included my seam allowance. Also for the length of my band, I made use of 2.5 inches, and I'm going to repeat the same process on the other band as well. Now for the other band, since I'm going to be adding the allowance of the zip, I am going to make mine 31 inches. Now I'm going to proceed to measuring my sleeve wristband. So now I'm going to fold my fabric like this, making sure that the stretchy part is what is forming the width area of my sleeve band. So for the length, I'm making use of 5 inches here, but for the width, I'm also going to be making use of 9 inches, after which I'm going to go ahead to cut. So on my zipper allowance, I'm already going ahead to apply my stay. So the next thing I'm going to do now will be to weave this part of my zipper allowance. You can see I left the allowance where I'm going to be weaving, so I'm going to go ahead to weave this part. So after weaving, I went ahead to iron my zipper allowance, and this is what we have. So the next thing I'm going to do now will be to fold the upper part of my pocket. So I'm going to be doing that on my taping machine. So after that, I'm going to fold the front bodice together like this, and I'm going to trim whatever excess I have here. Moving on, I'm going to be attaching my pocket to my front bodice. So after folding my pocket, what I have left is 9 inches. So I'm going to go ahead to measure 9 inches on my fabric. Also for my pocket width, since I'm going to be folding about half of an inch inside, I'm going to make the marking 8 inches. So I'm going to mark 8 inches for my pocket width, and I'm going to repeat the same process on the other side of my front bodice as well. So for the pocket, this is how I'm going to be placing it on my front body. So I'm going to be sewing on this part of my pocket, and I'm also going to be flipping it to the side of my front bodice, just like this. So after attaching my front pocket, the next thing to do now will be to join my shoulder lines together. So I'm going to start from this shoulder, and I'm also going to join the other shoulder as well. Now after joining my shoulders together, I'm going to align my armhole together so as to be able to notch the center point of my armhole. Now you can see that we have excess here, so I'm going to go ahead to trim the excess here, and I'm going to also notch the center point of my armhole. So I will repeat the same process on the other armhole as well. So since I already marked the center point of my armhole, I'm going to attach the center point of my sleeve on the center point of my armhole, and I'm going to pin the two together. So after pinning, I'm going to start my sewing from this part of my armhole. You can see that it is actually equal to what I have on my sleeve, so I'm going to go ahead to weave this on my machine. I'm also going to repeat the same process on the other side as well. So the next thing I'm going to do now will be to join the side of my hoodie together. So I'm going to pick this from my sleeve, just as you can see in this video. So I'm going to make sure that the armhole area is aligning together and my sleeve is also aligning. So once I have that figured out, I'll go ahead to weave this. Also, I'm going to sew on my sleeve wristband. So I have 2 pieces here, and I'm going to join these 2 pieces just as you can see me do in this video. So once I'm done joining the two, I'm going to fold each of them like this, just as you can see me illustrate in this video. After this, the next thing I'm going to do will be to attach the joining of my wristband to the joining of my sleeve. So I'm going to make sure that both joinings are actually aligning together. So once I have that, I'm going to go ahead to sew this round, and I'm also going to repeat the same thing on the other sleeve as well. So for my waistband, since I measure 31 inches and I have a joining at the side, I'm going to make sure that I am maintaining the same joining just because I'm managing the band I have. So I'm going to leave out about ½ inch allowance after this side joining, and I'm going to cut whatever I have here. So after cutting, I'm going to join this band with my back bodice band, and I'm going to join them together. So on the part that will be around my zipper, I'm going to flip it like this, and I'm going to weave on that part. The next thing I'm going to do now will be to join this band with my bodice together. Also at this point, I'm also going to be repeating the same thing I did previously. I'm also going to be joining this waistband together to make sure that the joining is aligning with the joining of the side bodice. If you have excess material, you might not really need to do so much joining, just sew straight. But just because I'm trying to manage my fabric, that is why I'm joining at the side. I hope this is clear. So I'm going to continue my joining till the last part of my waistband. So once I'm done with that, another thing I'm going to be doing now will be to sew on this part of my waistband. So after this, I'm going to proceed by attaching my zipper to the center point of my hoodie jacket, and we've done this severally. So if you don't know how to attach this, you can go back to watch my previous video and you'll be able to see how I was able to do that. So the next thing I'm going to do now will be to sew my hoodie cap. So for this, I'm going to be sewing on the wrong side of the first one, and for the second one, I'll be sewing on the right side, because this is what will form the inner part of my hoodie cap. So once I'm done with that, I'm going to spread out my hoodie cap like this, and I'm going to join it like this, the wrong side facing the right side, and I'm going to go ahead to sew on this part. So I'm going to pin this down, and I'm going to start my sewing from this part of my hoodie cap. So after joining everything together, this is what I have. This is what my hoodie cap is looking like. So if you're following me and you've gotten to this point and you're not getting this exact same thing, then something is wrong. So please kindly go back to watch the video so you can see that the wrong part is what is forming the inner lining of my hoodie cap. So already I've gone ahead to attach my eyelet to this part of my hoodie cap. You can see. So the distance from my eyelet to the base is like about 2.5 inches. So now I'm going to fold this part of my hoodie cap like this, and I'm going to go ahead to sew this. So after sewing on my hoodie cap, this is what we have. So the next thing I'm going to do now will be to trim out the excess here, and I'm also going to attach this to the main bodice. So to attach my cap to my hoodie, I'm going to notch the center point of my neckline, and I'm also going to make sure that the center point of my neckline is aligning with the center point of my hoodie cap. So once I know that this is aligning, I'm going to go ahead to sew, and as you can see in this video, you can see that it is aligning. So I'm going to pick my sewing from the zipper point to the other zipper point end. Here is the result of what I did, and this is how it is looking like. So the next thing I'm going to be doing now will be to attach just my piping band to my neckline. So I'm going to fold my piping band like this, and I'm going to place it on my neckline just like this. So once I have that done, I'm going to go ahead to sew this on my straight sewing machine. So after sewing, this is what we have, and I'm going to be running a double stitch on this part. So this brings us to the end of the sewing tutorial. So guys, here is the finished work of our hoodie jacket. So if you'll be trying this, let me know in the comment section, and if you're yet to subscribe to my YouTube channel, please kindly subscribe, like and share, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.